Right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Love Island Cast. I am one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris. Great to talk to you again, and I appreciate you meeting my needs to podcast about this show every single day.
And also, David, as we have friend of the show and guest as always, Jo from I Secretly Recorded My Boyfriend, and she's back again. Welcome, Jo.
Hello, boys. Are you okay? Are you weary now?
Very much so. Crawl into the finish line.
This is the worst part of any series, I find. I don't think I ever really enjoy the actual final two, because I feel like everybody starts being too nice to each other now, and as we're getting close to the final, it's like, oh yeah, everyone quite likes each other and nothing's happened. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I know you've got no reference, so you are right, Jo. No reference point to this, Dave, at all. But the actual things tonight, the dates and stuff, were an absolute bore, to the point where I'm thinking, Amber and Greg are going off on this date. They've been together for like 4 or 5 days, pretty much. I'm not buying that. This is like the way they set it up and they filmed it. I'm like, I don't really care, because I know it's not really real. I just didn't buy into any of the dates tonight at all. I know we're going to get Tommy and Molly tomorrow and all the other stuff, but I was just like, David said, and you said it before we come in, Dave said, like, he said, I wish he'd calm down a bit and thinking, but I think that's the best part of the show, to be honest, because I was bored to tears tonight.
I agree. And it's funny because, I mean, I feel like I'm not looking forward to the Tommy and Molly date, because whatever they do, they're going to both go through this facade of we love each other, and we're all going to go, yeah, whatever, bore off. And I'm like, oh God, do I even want to watch tonight? Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh...
I must admit, I mean, I had said yesterday, there's too much drama. You know, when the show goes off at 10 o'clock, I feel stressed. I have to have like a drink just to get sleep. Yeah. So I was kind of wishing for this kind of episode, but when I got it, I was like, sometimes you need to understand what you're actually asking for. But I mean, Jo, I missed the last time you came on. Unfortunately, I was away. What do you make to what's happened in this last week?
It's been a bloody good week in terms of viewing. It must be hell in there. I mean, I feel like the right people have gone at the right time. I feel like we kind of want to know Anna's story now she's left, because I want to absolutely make sure that they still hate each other and they're still fighting. I'd really like to know that that's happening. But I think that just this whole week, I mean, I've heard all your podcasts, but yesterday specifically, when you were talking about Anna and Jordan and how is it edited and when is it actually filmed, and are we missing bits out? Because all of a sudden, Jordan, one episode is in love and they're being boyfriend and girlfriend. The next episode, just to let you all know, I quite like India now. And you go, I don't know where any of this has come from, but none of it's made sense to me in my head. The only thing that I can think is, and there have been rumours in the paper about producers really telling them this year what to do. The only thing I can think is that Jordan has been told that he has no chance of winning with Anna, and therefore he's going to have to create a little bit of a drama and a story. And I think that's what happens. And it just makes me, I don't know, it just leaves a bit of a sour taste in my mouth, because I don't know whether I'm supposed to like them or not, or whether they're being real or not. And I don't know, it's a very confusing series.
Yeah, I agree. And as someone who's watched it from the start, Jo, I know you got into it after a couple of series, but I've watched it religiously. It just seems that this series, they've got the worst, and we've said it a few times on the show when you've been on and when me and Dave have been talking, but they seem to have got the worst part of the auditions, or the worst people. And it's just escalated into absolute men v women, hasn't it, really? It's been, some of the episodes have been real bad to watch. And I know, I've been a real champion for not liking Anna and stuff, but on a human level, she was treated like absolute shit this week. She really was. But she'd done it to hit Jordan. He's a slime ball. The only one who's come out good out of all of it is Ovie for me. He really is. And even in defeat, when she should be going for the sympathy vote, getting everybody on side, she can't help going gangster on Jordan and being completely rude. And that's why I had the problem yesterday. And I'm not trying to go over what I've already said, but...
No, we're going back to filming and stuff, and you saying that there feels like there's gaps. Have you discussed on the podcast before about what they do on a Saturday? Because they all leave the villa on a Saturday. Have you heard this rumour?
Yeah.
We've got 24 hours, really, where they're not being filmed. And so anything could be happening there.
Yeah, you're totally right. And I think I'd said to Dave as well on one of the episodes, Joe, I can't remember whether it was last series or series 3, but didn't one of the guys crack on with one of the production people when they were out on like this Saturday thing? And it goes
I mean, it's, and that's where I think a lot of these things are happening, that suddenly we think, well, this has come from nowhere. But maybe they've spent all of that secret day with the other person. I mean, who knows? I don't know. It's just a fucked up world.
But I think with Jordan in particular, I think that one didn't make any sense. It was like Curtis and Jordan, wasn't it? But that didn't go anywhere. It was as if Jordan had said to himself, we're in the bottom 3 couples, so screw it. I'm just going to go, shit or bust. But with Danny, with Michael, they both ended up as these villainous characters. But you could see a progression. You could see a story there and how they got into that position. Whereas with Jordan, it was like, he was saying all these right things. Anna was really upset about being in the bottom 3. He was doing all the right things. He just asked her to be his girlfriend. And then it's like, yeah, Curtis, I like India.
But remember that when he was saying to her, don't worry about being in the bottom 3, we've got love and that's all that counts. That's what he said to her.
He was getting that from his little pocketbook of things to say.
How funny that when you just mentioned Danny, I genuinely had to go, God, which one's Danny?
Yeah.
Because seriously, I could not name the full lineup this year now already.
That's probably because you've got a life, Joe.
Yes, well, thank God for that. Thank God for that.
No, I think that's a good point, because it is like when we do the episodes, and we've said it, Joe, it's like tomorrow's chip shop paper. Literally, some of the contestants that were in at the start. I mean, who remembers Callum, the Welsh lad who got voted off after about 3 days? We've never seen him since, So
no, we haven't.
No, so you're totally right. And what will happen, Dave? I don't think I've mentioned this to you on the show. When they get to the final episode, it's done live with a live audience in the villa. So all the drama and the story that's gone on totally changes. It just becomes like a bit like Big Brother, that type of situation. Caroline Flack's there, and they've got it all dark with the fire going and all this. And that's where we get. I think it's 2 or 3 couples are left, and that's where it goes to at the end. So that's what's going to come on Monday when the final's on.
Okay. Now, I mean, we know Molly, May and Tommy are definitely going to be there. But I've got, what do you think, Joe, of Morris? Yeah, let's call him Morris. Curtis and Maura.
Do you know what? What I think about them is that I still believe, and as close as we get to the final, I still believe that they both went in there, both of them separately, but with a game plan, and a game plan to be remembered. And I believe that plan has worked. And I think that in 6 months' time, those are the 2 we will remember. And I think they'll both have careers out of this. Can't think of another cast member that will, but I think they both will. They definitely won't stay together. He pied her last night in the worst possible way. And we all think we know why. Are we saying it out loud? I don't think we're saying it out loud, but we all know why he turned her down.
I'm happy to say, Joe, because I did put a tweet out last night.
I saw it.
Yeah, he needs to just accept, because the classic "I've pulled a headache" out line, I was pissing myself thinking, oh my word, he's pulling every cliche out here, because she was lay on top of him. And as any man, woman, whatever, if you're in that situation and there's a chemistry there and it happens, we're in relationship, things like that, I was like, straight away, and my Sam sat next to me, he's like, he's gay, and I went, yeah, he's gay. Not just because of that.
Oh, come on, guys.
I agree, not just because of that. Like, the whole series, we've questioned it. Now, whether he's gay or bi or whatever he is, not a problem with it.
Exactly.
The fact he's come on Love Island and pretended he's not, then I maybe do have a slight problem with that. But he's the one with the story, isn't he? He is the one that's done this full journey. Some magazine is paying for his story. There's no doubt about that. They'll pay. Maura could have a nice career doing whatever she wants to do, TV presenting, and I think she'll be great at it. But they've come in and they've done exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, and I've got to say, Maura's line was a belter. She said, "He's fucking there asking me for what a fucking coffee. What a fucking orgasm!"
It was the fact that he said, though, he was he had a headache, but he was tired because the baby's been crying all day. I'm like, oh, fuck off. We've all got kids, and that relentlessness over, like, certainly the first few months. I'm like, you've got no idea, sunshine.
No,
but he's not good at faking it anymore, because even, like, when they got the text for they're going on a date, he did this real fake, hooray! And I was like, oh my God, even you cheering is now become fake and horrible. Like, there's nothing to like about them. But I kind of admire, we've come in with a game plan, sod everything, we're going to go out and be remembered. And like I said before, I just had to think, who the hell's Danny? And that was only a few weeks ago. So we will remember them. So fair play. They're not going to win, but fair play to them. They will win career-wise, I think.
I agree. And when he struck the line into more of like, look, I really want to rip your clothes off. I really do. But I just had a headache. I was like, no, you don't. Stop fucking lying. Come on now. There's not a chance you would turn Maura down.
Though. I was really confused the other day, because I thought they got it on in the Hideaway.
Yeah. I
thought they'd done stuff in the Hideaway, and now I'm going, oh, maybe they didn't, because she's talking like she hasn't had it with him, isn't she? She's talking like they haven't done things. Yeah,
and I think Thingy, those traumatised. I've got to say, I thought it was absolutely disgusting, but it was
Elly Belly.
Really bad. Elly Belly.
Same things.
She's scarred for life, the poor little thing, isn't she?
She definitely needs a wash.
I did think it was funny because, I mean, Molly May's more comfortable, I think, talking about people behind their backs. But even she'd said to Maura, because Maura's moaning on about, she's got needs. And Molly May's like, everyone knows Maura's got needs. I thought for her to actually call her out there, she's just relentlessly going on about it. But I genuinely have no idea how far they've really gone. Because I guess I've got the impression that they have been at it for some time. I mean, that first time, Curtis was sort of lying back in that post-coitus kind of chilled state and saying, I didn't expect that to happen. So I think they have been at it, but just that particular night, when she apparently wants it, he doesn't want it. So I don't know. He's a 23-year-old bloke. You've got Maura on top of you. There's something else going on there,
There really, really
is. Dave, you're so right. I agree with both of you. It's not right at all. I will be absolutely shocked when the article comes out in the OK magazine. I've been lying to myself. I'm actually bi or gay. Nobody cares. I do not care. But you believe in everyone else. It really doesn't matter to me one way or the other. It was funny to watch, though. It was great TV. Fantastic to see him just squirm and everything. I was like, oh, you absolute wanker.
I tell you what, I did quite like as well was it Belle and I can't remember who she was with. Was she with Molly May? And they were commentating. They were doing the old David Attenborough with with Anton, and he's just constantly looking at himself in the mirror. Put a weight down, look himself in the mirror a bit more. I did think that was a nice little fun moment tonight.
Yeah, it was, and that was she was with India, wasn't she?
Yeah, that's right.
And that kind of made me warm to India a bit more, and it's made me go, because we don't hate India and we love Ovie, are they the winners?
Well,
I think they've got a good chance, haven't they?
Yeah, I
because we were talking at work today, and we were saying, like, who do we want to win? Who do we want to win? And everyone was like, who do we like? Who do we hate the least? Because none of them are really in love. Like, we're not falling for any of that. None of them are. So, God, who do we want to win? And then you go, okay, well, I'd hate them, but I don't hate them as much. So maybe they're the winners. But because we love Ovie, and I have started to warm to India, and I want to believe that they like each other, I think maybe Ovie for me is the winner.
Yeah, I love Ovie, I do. And look, he has to win, because anybody who can wear a Man from Del Monte hat and still look cool has got to win. He looked top tonight with his hat on. He looked absolutely slick. So fair play to the guy. And he's such a nice guy. And he took the compliment from India so well. He was really pleased with it. It wasn't any falseness to what he was saying. So yeah, he is the man for me.
When they were having that big row, when all that big row kicked off, and Anna and Jordan in that, and he very quietly marched over, grabbed India by the hand and took her out of the equation and walked away with her. Every woman I've spoken to about that had heart flutters. We were like, oh, look what Ovie's done for his woman. We're so excited. And that one move could win this game for him.
It was brilliant, that. And what I didn't expect to see, on the day, I thought Ovie looked quite nervous. This guy who's normally as chilled as a newt, we all love him. He seemed to be a little bit awkward, and so I think it seems to be genuine between him and India. And I did like his line there in the diary room where he's talking and he's like, I get to take Cinderella home. He's got that cheeky little laugh about him. So, yeah, I think for me, I'd said about Amber and Greg, but I'm not as bought into them. I think for me, it's probably going to be India and Ovie.
I mean, I do like Amber. I've really warmed to her now over the last couple of weeks, and I wouldn't be unhappy if she won at all. But I think it's really early days for them, whereas it feels like Ovie and India have moved on a bit more than maybe Amber and Greg have. But I wouldn't be upset with either couple, if I'm honest.
No, I think I'm the same, Joe. Now, Joe, we would like your opinion on something. We've had a fantastic email from one of our listeners, a lady called Need from Ireland, and it's regarding the Anna and Jordan situation and the fact that we did get a review, which we're open and transparent, calling us misogynistic. So it's quite a long email. Would you be all right if I read it out and then just pick bits out of it, what you think? Because she's telling it from a lady's point of view. So it reads, "Hi lads, first off, I absolutely adore the podcast and it's become one of my favourite podcasts to listen to daily. However, I felt compelled to email in about your take on the situation with Anna and Jordan in UK Love Island. I don't think you guys are misogynistic. However, I do think that your opinion on what Jordan did to Anna differs from that of most women. To men, infidelity is the physical act of cheating. In this case, you are right. Jordan didn't do anything. However, to most women, the act of lying and making you doubt yourself and your character is what hurts the most in situations such as this. I was no big fan of Anna. However, I totally get how she felt. First, she said to Jordan that she felt there was something off. He told her it was all her fault because she was negative and that he needed space from her. This was after he spoke to Curtis about how he felt for India. This was after he made a huge show of asking to be his girlfriend in the villa, setting the akin to giving a commitment to be exclusive. This is where the crux of the wrongdoing is. Then she finds out that he's over trying to gouge the interest of someone else when she probably spent all day beating herself up for everything wrong in their relationship and thinking of all the things she could do to make things right. Don't get me wrong, I know the pack mentality in there got a little bit out of hand, but from a female perspective, I think she had a future planned in her head. Maybe not a full-blown commitment, but probably holidays, nights out, meeting her friends, etc. In one fell swoop, that was all wiped out, and then she probably began to doubt her whole time in the villa and everything he ever said to her. This is very upsetting. It's not the act itself, it's the deceit around it and how you're made to feel like there is something wrong with you. If a man is just honest and says he doesn't want to be with you anymore, yes, that hurts, but it's far more respectful. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Love you guys and keep up the good work. Neve from Ireland. So, sorry, Joe. I know it's a long one. Fantastic email. We had to ring it out. But what do you think, not whether she's right or wrong, but just your opinion on that whole thing? Because I thought it was a really, really good read.
Yeah, I mean, I think Neve is bang on. I genuinely do. It's the whole Anna thing is a weird one for me because I liked her at first. And then I really started to not like her at all and was like, I'd never be friends with a woman like this. I don't like her. I don't agree with what she's doing. It was always okay for her to treat people how she wanted, but nobody was allowed to treat her badly at all. Like, she's very clear on that. There's no grey areas with her. But the whole Jordan thing is one of those things. Now, rightly or wrongly, women cannot help being emotional and going a bit nuts, right? We can't help it. But what I have to say back is that you bloody men drive us nuts. You drive us nuts. And so, like, I'll put up with stuff, not say anything at home. And then suddenly the smallest thing makes me go, right, come here. We're going to get all of this out. And you can't help it. It's not my fault, guys, not my fault. And I think what had happened with Anna is how I see it, is that she had started building up this future and these plans with Jordan. They'd had their ups and downs and they had discussed a lot about how much they liked each other, bordering on love, whatever it was. And he had, like Neve said, he'd made this whole bloody song and dance about, I'm going to take you to every place in the villa that we've ever sat in and all that shit. And she had sat there and she had taken this in to her heart. And what it seemed like 24, 48 hours later, all of that, every single thing he'd ever said to her in her head was a lie, because he suddenly was wandering around, talking behind Anna's back that she could see. And she was getting murmurings of, oh, he's after India and all of this. And he very clearly was. Everything that she had thought over the last month or so was suddenly a lie. And as a woman, it guts you, it really gets you. And you go, okay, I've got trust issues now, because in the future, I can't believe a word any bloke says to me, because the next man that comes to her and says, I love you and I want a future, she's going to go, do you? Because I've heard that before. And it's so gutting. And you start going, well, I'm not good enough. I'm ugly. I'm not this. I'm not that. You cannot help yourself do it. And so I 100% get where she came from. I understand, whilst I'm not excusing the behaviour, because the pack mentality did go too far, I'm not excusing it, but I totally get it. I really get how upsetting that can be. In the click of a finger, the man who has told you consistently how much he likes you suddenly is going, oh, well, I don't really like you anymore. I'm going to go off with another woman. See ya. And like, you're just like, what the fuck? Where has this come from? And it's personal. It's just gutting. And I truly believe that she'll be sat having a cocktail right now going, no, sod him, I couldn't care less, there's plenty more fish in the sea. But in that moment of madness, I totally get it.
Right, well, I think we should just pack up now, Dave, because what you just said is absolutely on the money. And I know that my wife, who we're celebrating our 20th anniversary next month, she's sat there going, that is what, I won't go off another woman by not that, but I can trigger Sam like nobody's business, Joe, even the slightest thing. So, and I'm scared of her as well. So, yeah, I'm so glad you explained it like that, because I thought the email's fantastic, the explanation wasn't. And Dave, you've said it yourself. Dave has been really open and said, look, we do see it from a men's perspective. And I've never really, not really commented or agreed or disagreed. It's just, I just try and call that bad behaviour. But now that you read Neve's email and what you've just said. I think it's absolutely fantastic, to be honest.
It's true. Bloody blokes.
I know, the bastards.
I can't believe you're a bit in a mood with me. Yes, I am, because of the 10 weeks where I've put up with you doing this and this. I've been kind and I've stayed silent, and now you've driven me over the bloody limit. So anyway, let's all remain calm and friends.
Anyway, Joe, is there an X-rated version of your podcast? Because I'd love to hear this when you go.
Anytime I go nuts, that's edited out, don't worry.
That is absolutely brilliant. What do you think of that, Dave? Because I thought it was brilliant.
No, it is fantastic. I mean, if anyone out there is interested on this study between how men and women think differently, you can do a lot worse than go and listen to Joe's podcast. But no, I mean, what I discussed off air with Chris is that we all just inherently see the world through our own eyes, and so, you know, for Chris and I, it's being blokes. For yourself, it's obviously being a woman. I did, to go off on a little bit of a tangent, the only slight window I've had, I think it was about 20 or something like that. I was going on a pub crawl, a fancy dress pub crawl. And me and a few mates, we dressed up as the Spice Girls. Now I was 20 then, so I was a lot thinner than I am now, a lot more slender, if you like. So I carried off Sporty Spice pretty damn well. And we got to the club, and so all of the fancy dress people had kind of thinned out. And a lot of my mates who were dressed up as women were, you know, big, chiseled, desperate Dan jaws. So it was obvious they were women. Whereas in the dark, I think I carried off, like I say, a decent Sporty Spice. I have never had so much attention in a nightclub in my life. And I tell you what, I got so pissed off because my arse was fucking sore with so many people pinching it.
Hey, David, hey.
Right, but you should have these faces blokes. When I turn around, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And they're like, whoa. So that was the tiny window I had into seeing the world through a woman's eyes. And I was like, you know what? Men, you're all fucking shithouses. But apart from that little experience, I do see the world through my own eyes. So I thought I'd share that one with you.
No, that's brilliant. Now, Joe, thank you so much for coming on. You've absolutely nailed everything today, as always. And we've only got a few days left, so sadly, I'm not sure we're going to get you back on before the end of it. So what is your overall predictions? I know you said Ovie in India. Do you think it will be Ovie in India?
For me, I think it'll be Ovie in India. I've heard a lot of people saying, we wish we could vote for one man and one woman and like not have to vote for couples, and I totally get that. It's the first series I've thought, yeah, I like that man and that woman from different relationships, but I think Ovie will carry it through simply because Molly-Mae is not liked by anybody as far as I can see. And so I think Tommy would have done it if that was the case, but I think he's chosen the wrong person. So my prediction is for Ovie and India to win. And I'll be happy with that, I think.
No, that's great. Thank you. And where can everybody get you, Joe? Where can everybody find the podcast as well?
The podcast is called I Secretly Recorded My Boyfriend, and we are at Recorded Boyf on all the social media. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, Joe, you're a star. Now, we will have you back on, but you've got to catch up on the Love Island USA.
I know. It's so much commitment. But here's the thing. I'd love to come back on because of course, when Love Island comes back twice next year, you'll be doing this, yeah?
Oh yes. Oh, yes. Oh, we will be. Don't worry. Dave's going to be coming on, kicking and streaming. And what he hasn't realised, John, I have mentioned it, you're going to be coming back on because the Love Island Australia is coming on later on this year on ITV, so we're definitely going to be covering that.
And then I shall be back on for that. Because if it's on ITV, I'll watch it. You just need to give me a notification of when it's on, because I tend to miss these things. So let me know. Yeah, I'd love to come back on.
Oh, thank you so much. Now, Dave, obviously, everybody, who's listening today, I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been fantastic. Again, big thanks to Joe. If you want to get in contact with the show on Twitter, at Love Island Cast. If you want to email the show, theloveislandcast@gmail.com. And if you do like the show, good or bad, give us a review on your podcast catching app. and it just helps us grow and gets us out there into the podcasting world. So, David, I've stitched you up nicely. What are you going to leave us out with today, my friend?
Well, I have absolutely the square root of fuck all witty to say, so all I'll do is just echo your sentiment and say again, thanks, Joe. That's brilliant. Always great when you come on. Thanks to you, Chris, as well, and we'll see you tomorrow, where hopefully we don't have quite as dull an episode as what we have tonight. Bye now.
See you now.